Coming in hot from Arizona, this is Trevor
and Troy Howard.
And you're on So Tell Us Time. You can have everything you want in your business. Sometimes you just need a little help.
Every business owner would love to charge more for their services, but sometimes you can sacrifice long-term loyalty for a short-term profit.
Creating the right rituals is key to your business having success.
Are you tired of competing with your competitors? Guess what? You don't have to compete if you create.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's another episode of So Tell Us Time. It's a happy Tuesday morning, like always. Happy. We've got a amazing episode for you today. As always, you know this, an amazing episode for you today. We're going to be talking about harvesting the low fruit. Get that low fruit, that low-hanging fruit in your business and maximize it, right? So one of the problems that we're seeing ever since the pandemic, right, is we're seeing people that are kind of like holding off. They're waiting to make the moves they need to make, or to see like, let's see what this is going to do, or they get scared and they start pulling back. And I can tell you that is a big mistake.
Yeah.
During COVID, some of our competitors, biggest competitors, who have $180 million invested in them, $200 million invested in them, we're self-funded, and yet these are our two biggest competitors. They pulled way back on their marketing. I'm talking they were spending over $100,000 a month on PPC. They pulled back, and we pushed forward. In fact, we increased. And let me tell you, what did that do during that time? It made us the only option.
Yeah.
Because people were still out there. They were still pushing. They were still wanting to grow and trying. The smart ones were, and they wanted to fight. They weren't going to go down without a fight. Well, we were there. They just disappeared off, and we just ramped up. And so we grew during that pandemic. And I am seeing the same mentality coming into 2023. Everybody's like, wow, this recession, let's see what's going to happen. Let's wait till maybe, end of first quarter, end of second quarter to really make the moves or spend the money. Let's hold back. Even consumers are doing that, which makes business owners even more scared. But the thing is, if you make the right moves and you're strategic about it, you can continue to grow and push forward, and you can make 2023 what you want it to be. Because right now, what you're letting people do is other people dictate how your 2023 is going to go. And that's not what we're going to do. That's not what Sotellus is going to do. Sotellus is making big moves and going to grow. So first, we're going to talk about hitting the low-hanging fruit. And that's what we're going to jump into today. And then maybe we'll do another episode on hitting those big goals, right?
Yeah.
Moving forward with the big goals. And if you're following us on social media, if you're following us on So Tell Us Time on Instagram, Facebook, then you'll see I'm already talking about these in our stories, so you can be checking them out there. But this is going to be a little bit more in depth and a little bit better here. So Troy, let's jump in.
All right. So today we're going to give you 3 different low-hanging fruits that a lot of businesses just don't pay attention to.
Right.
So Trevor and I, we've talked about this before. We consult with tons of businesses. We come in, we look at those businesses, and we help them determine, what they need to do, right? Where do they need to make the right steps to grow their business? Yeah. And time again, we see these low-hanging fruits that have just been completely ignored. It's like, think about you're picking the fruit off the tree, and everyone is like on the ladder, like teetering, almost falling off because they're trying to get the fruit at the very top of the tree.
Right.
And there's fruit sitting there right down at the very bottom.
Absolutely.
And so that's some of these that we're going to be talking about today that are really good. So the first one we're going to talk about is referrals.
Yeah.
And, what I love about referrals is you've already paid the marketing cost to acquire that customer, right? Whatever it costs to bring that customer in, that money has been spent. And now any referrals you get from them is basically free. From that point forward. So are you actively asking them for referrals? Now, we've talked to people before and they're like, oh, yeah, I have a referral program. And it's like, okay, how do you get referrals? Well, my clients refer people to me. Okay, that's not an active marketing campaign for referrals. That's just your customers being nice and referring people over to you. So you need to have an active campaign, right? Some way that you're reaching out to those customers and asking them to refer their friends and family.
Exactly.
And one thing that we see a lot too is they'll ask right at the moment of service once they provided the service. And they're like, hey, is there anybody you know that needs carpet cleaning? Which is great. And you want to do that.
Yeah.
But then they never follow up with that customer ever again to ever ask them for a referral.
And Troy just hit a key word there, follow up. You're going to see a recurring theme in these three examples. In these three examples, you're going to see follow up is a recurring theme.
Yes, exactly. So, what you want to be doing, and this is what we suggest for you, is yes, you should ask for that referral right at the moment of service. And then you should have follow-up that goes out to them, maybe every 3 months, every quarter. You're following up and just saying, hey, I just wanted to check in with you, see how things are going. Is there anybody that you know that needs my services?
Absolutely.
Right? So maybe 2 out of the 4 times, they don't have anybody to refer to you.
Right.
But 2 of the times they do. Well, that's 2 new customers that you didn't pay anything for.
That's right.
Right? And the great thing about it is you're also reminding your customer base about you, right?
Yeah.
You're bringing yourself to the top of mind with them so that they go, you know what? Oh, man, I don't have anybody to refer right now, but I do need my carpets to be cleaned
And
again.
think about that. If you just brought in, if every customer referred one person a year to you, you doubled your business.
Yep.
If they referred 2, like Troy just said, you tripled your business.
Exactly.
So, that is such low-hanging fruit, right? I love it. I love
Yep.
that.
So that's number 1, your referral program, working on that. Okay, number 2, like Trevor talked about, is follow-up. Oof, boy, are you maximizing the leads that are coming into your business? I can't tell you how many times we see this. People are spending money on PPC ads or spending money, on whatever it might be. They're on SEO, or maybe they're paying people, to go out and sell for them. They're doing all these different things to try and bring leads in the door. And then we ask them, okay, now what do you do? How do you follow up with this customer?
Right.
Or this potential customer. And they're like, well, I give them a call. I reach out to them. Okay, great. And then when that doesn't close the sale, what do you do after that?
Yep.
I wait for them to call me back.
Or I forget about them completely.
Yeah, and I've told this story before, but I'm going to reiterate it again because we have a lot of new listeners. But in one of my rental properties, I needed to do a complete remodel, and it was going to be about $20,000.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 5 different companies come in and quote it out. And the pricing, ranged from $15,000 to $30,000. But what was interesting is that only one of them ever followed up. So they got it. They did their bid, their estimate of what it was going to cost to do it. They emailed it over to us, and that was it. We never got any communication after that email. And there was only one that actually followed up. And I thought, you know what? This is going to be the person that I'm going to pick.
Totally.
Because they actually cared to follow up. And if you can't follow up on a $30,000 job, I probably don't want to hire you, right?
It's insane.
So follow-up is really, really important. And I'll give you guys some statistics. You guys know I love statistics. So 80% of sales require an average of 5 follow-ups.
It's crazy.
Now,
but true.
Yeah. But you may be saying in your mind, well, I don't follow up 5 times and I get sales. You do.
Yeah.
You get that 20%,
right?
Imagine what you could get if you did follow up, right? If 80% of them occur after 5 follow-ups, imagine what you could get if you're following up. So how many times should you follow up? Well, obviously, at least 5 times.
Yeah.
Right? Here's an interesting thing for you, and I want you to think about this for your competitors. 44% of sales reps follow up with a prospect only once.
That's nuts.
So
I'd be ticked if that was my team.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I would be so mad. Yeah, I'm with you. So think about that. So your competitors, half of them basically quit following up with the prospect after the first time that they reach out to them. So that's awesome for you as a business owner if you have follow-up in your program. Right? And this one blows my mind too. 94% of them give up after 4 follow-ups.
Crazy.
So we know that 80% of sales are closed after 5 follow-ups, but 94% of your competitors are quitting at 4.
They're giving up, friends.
So if you have 5, 6, 7, 8 follow-ups ready to go with those people, you are going to close more sales.
Absolutely. And we practice what we preach, guys. We know the proof is in the pudding because we do it personally.
Yes.
In our campaign, our sales campaign, our guys will have anywhere from a 60% to 110%. They're literally closing more than what the leads that are coming in the door. And so how we get that is in the follow-up. We always tell them the money is in the pipeline.
Yes.
The gold nuggets are in the pipeline. So yes, they get the immediate people who like they opt in, they schedule, and then they buy. They do a demo and buy, right? Well, that's great. And their days will get full of that. However, there is all the people who opt in and don't schedule, opt in, schedule, but don't show up to a demo, opt in, schedule, show up to a demo, but don't buy. And all those people, we need to be touching, we need to be reaching out to them a minimum of 5 times as the stats show. And so that's how we have had such great success. I will tell you, Sotellus runs on a shoestring team.
Yeah.
We have phenomenal guys. We don't have extra fat. We don't have the fat here. We've just always trimmed that fat off. If you're not a performer, this isn't the place for you, right? Yep. And why we can do that, why we can run, thousands of customers across 39 countries in the world, and our competitors are going to run hundreds of customers with and usually just in their local area, right? Their own city.
Yeah.
They run it with like 50 employees. We run with like 10.
Yeah.
Now the reason we can do that is because we have the follow-up. And each person knows what they're doing and they're touching them. Even in support, our success coaches.
Yes.
They are touching every customer to help them find success. I don't even know how many times throughout the first 30 days.
Yeah.
Right?
But our sales guys, just to give you an idea, our sales guys, for someone to go, they go through our sales pipeline. When a prospect goes through our sales pipeline, there are 12 stages, and each stage has at least 3 or 4 communications via email or text message. So if you take that, let's say it's just 3 as the average, that's 12 times 3. That is 36 communications before we say, you know what, this person is lost and they're not going to buy.
And that doesn't even include all the phone calls happening from our sales guys.
Yes. So think about that. That's if you want to get 100% close rate, that's how you do it.
Yep.
All right. So how are you following up? Are you emailing? Are you doing text message? Are you doing phone calls? Most importantly, do you have automation?
Yeah.
Right? Our sales guys would not be able to close as many sales as they do if they had to send out every one of those emails, every one of those text messages, right? So being able to automate it takes that team and it multiplies their ability times 10 times 100. Yeah. So are you automating that follow-up? That's really important. All right. Now, the final low-hanging fruit we're going to talk about today is marketing. What marketing are you doing right now that is working well?
Yeah.
And again, I want you to just think about it. We go in, we sit down with a new business, we ask them, okay, what are you doing right now? What's marketing are you doing? What's this? What's that? Right? And they go, oh yeah, well, I'm doing, PPC. Mm-hmm. Okay, is that working? Yeah, it's working.
What's your ad spend?
What's your ad spend? What are your numbers? We figure all that out, right? And then one of the first things Trevor asked them is, what have you done? Have you increased that budget?
Yeah.
If it's working and you know the numbers are good, have you increased that budget? And you kind of have a story for us, Trevor, about that.
Yeah, I mean, and a million of them. It's always the same. Well, no, not really. And it's like people get this magic number in their mind, and I don't understand it because let me tell you something. I will spend $1,000 a month if something is working, but I will also spend $100,000 a month if something is working.
Yes.
I will spend $1 million a month if something is working. But people get this number in their mind, and they pick that number and they say, this is my budget for PPC. And so if they're doing a good job, which most of them aren't, and that's what we help them set up, right? It's like, track it. You need to track it. You need to know what converts. So you send your little friends out there. Let's just say, for example, I had a customer that I walked in the door and they were spending $1,000 a month, okay, on PPC, smaller one hat community person. And the numbers looked good. When we went through it, the numbers looked great. And I said to them, great, why don't we double this? And they were like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, my budget's $1,000. but you're making money off of this.
Right.
Well, yeah, but my budget's really, I mean, that's really kind of what I allocated. What are you talking about? That $1,000 is making you what? Let's say $10,000. Okay, 10 timesing your money.
Yeah.
So now we take it and we go $2,000, and let's see if we get to 20, or let's see if we just get to 15, or let's see if we get to 12. But even if you get to 12, you added 1,000, gained an extra 2.
Yeah.
But people don't do that. Same thing, and I think with, and I'm just going to go into it all, right? So same thing with like SEO.
Yeah.
How SEO works, and people don't understand this, is it's time spent. It's people literally working on your site. That's what like gauges your budget. That's what gauges your expense for it. So, and then keywords, areas, things like that, cities, things like that. Well, if you know that your SEO is working, you're seeing movement with your SEO, you're getting, to the first page of Google with different keywords. Okay, and let's just say your budget is $1,000 again for that. Well, great. So if you go back to your SEO team and you say, hey, if I spend $2,000 a month, how many more keywords and cities can I go after? And then you do that. And then you continue to expand. But people don't do that. And I think a lot of you are probably sitting there going, yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. Because I will tell you, there is a shelf for everything. Like you can, I probably can't spend $100,000 on PPC right now because it won't actually make me any more money.
Yes.
Than if I'm spending, let's say $50,000 or $20,000, whatever that number is. And so the key is find what's working, be grateful that it's working, but know your numbers so that you can then say, now let's just, if it's a small budget, I always recommend just double it. If it's like $1,000 or $2,000, go to 4 and see what happens with that. But track it, know it. Yes. It's not scary. It doesn't matter. Because it's all about knowing, it's maximizing that budget. It's maximizing that avenue of revenue, right? And people just don't do that because they get this number in their mind. That's what I've allocated. And I'm going, you're crazy. I've got guys that they're spending $4,000 a month on their marketing. They're producing $40,000 a month. And I'm like, hey, so isn't it time to bump it up? Like let's take it to the next level. And they're just like, oh, well, that's really what I've allocated. Well, why don't we try 5 or 6 or 7? Maybe you'll go up to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a month.
Yeah.
In revenue off of that, And so I think I bet a lot of people just went, I think I should talk to my PPC guy or my SEO guy, right? These different avenues of revenue need to be tested. They need to be pushed, right? Yep. And as long as you know your numbers, it's profitable, it's only going to be good things.
That's right. And like Trevor said, you may find that ceiling. We've done that before with our marketing where we're like, man, we spent, $20,000 and we made this much money off it. Then we went to $25,000 and we really didn't make any more money off of it. So we're like, okay, bring it back down to 20. It
was funny. I was at an event, a little party, and I was walking through and I see one of my clients, and he's talking to this guy, and he just chuckling, just having a good time. He looks over and he says, oh, hey, and if I could just get Trevor to produce more leads, that would be amazing. And I just looked at him and said, if I could just get him to close leads, that would be amazing. And he was like, oh, boom, 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 shots fired. And we were laughing and having a good time. But it was like his mentality was he wanted more leads for the same budget.
Yep.
But in all reality, he already knew, and I was talking with him. There was multiple things to this whole scenario, but close rates, and there's all sorts of things, which is why knowing your numbers. But just stepping it back, if your mentality is, I want, I've been spending $1,000 a month on this, or a couple $1,000s a month, or $5,000 a month, it produces me X. But now how do I optimize that to produce me even more? No, that's probably never going to happen.
Yep.
You need to think about, how do I increase that budget? What do I do? Let's see where I can go. And maybe it's like you go, hey, I brought it up. My numbers really didn't change, so I bring it back down. That's okay.
Yep.
But anyways, so I could beat a dead horse all
All
day.
right. Homework.
All right, guys, homework. Pick one of these low-hanging fruit in your business and implement it this week, whether that's talking to your PPC guy, whether that's talking to your SEO guy, whether that's creating a referral system that actually rewards and tracks and brings in more referrals from your customers. Whatever that is, get it done, implement it. And then I would say biggest thing is the follow-up, because all three of these require follow-up.
Absolutely.
And even though one of them, the whole focus of one of them is follow-up, like, yes, if you aren't following up with every lead at least 5 times, you're not doing your job. You're not winning. You're leaving money on the table.
Yep.
So don't go back and complain at your marketing people that they don't produce enough for you if you're not following up at least 5 times, because you're the problem. They're not.
There you go.
I'm going to tell you that right now. I know that's hard to hear. All right, guys. Well, we love you so much. We appreciate you. Share, like, comment, and we will catch you guys on the next episode of So Tell Us Time.